In 1955, Bel-Air Stud had been breeding champions for 200 years, the oldest racing stable in America. Its trainer had conditioned 2 Triple Crown winners, and its jockey was Eddie Arcaro, the most decorated rider alive. Its colt was Nashua, the reigning 2-year-old champion, Kentucky Derby favorite, the horse the entire East believed would dominate unchallenged. Then a chestnut from the California desert beat him by a length and a half, and nobody in the East even knew the winner's name. What nobody asked was what would happen when these two finally met again. 2 horses, 2 Americas, and the men behind them could not have come from more different worlds. Nashua was foaled in Collington, Maryland, out of Nasrullah blood and 2 centuries of dynasty. Swaps was born on a California ranch to a former cowhand named Rex Ellsworth, who could not afford to ship horses east. There was a reason Swaps lost the biggest race of that year, and it had nothing to do with ability. The man in the winner's circle had 8 weeks left to live. And when Swaps nearly died the following autumn, help came from the last person anyone expected. Nashua entered 1955 as the most proven young horse in the country. 8 starts at 2, 6 wins, 2 seconds. Champion 2-year-old of 1954. Behind him stood Bel-Air Stud and the full weight of its legacy. His trainer was the man who had conditioned Gallant Fox and Omaha. His jockey had won more classics than any rider in the history of the sport. The path to the Kentucky Derby looked like a formality. 3,000 miles west, a chestnut colt was doing things on the Santa Anita backstretch that clockers did not believe. Swaps moved with a long, elastic stride that seemed to cover more ground than his legs should allow. He did not look like he was running hard. He looked like he was gliding. Then you checked the watch and the numbers did not match what your eyes had just seen. His sire Khalid carried the blood of Hyperion from the Aga Khan stud in Europe. His damn iron reward traced through War Admiral to Man o' War. The pedigree was serious. But in 1955, California horses did not win the Kentucky Derby. The East did not take them seriously. Until a California horse proved it on Eastern dirt, the words meant nothing. Mesh Tenney did not care what the East thought. The night before the Derby, he slept on the ground in Swaps' stall at Churchill Downs. Not in the barn office, not in a chair. In the stall, beside the horse. That is not the act of a man managing a runner. That is devotion. If you appreciate what I am doing here, please subscribe. It means a lot to me. Now let us dive back in. May 7, 1955. Churchill Downs. 10 horses in the field. Purse of $152,500. Nashua was the favorite. Eddie Arcaro had his eye on Summer Tan as the primary threat. He was asked about the California horse. He did not consider Swaps a serious contender. Shoemaker put Swaps on the lead and let him dictate the pace. Arcaro sat third, stalking, waiting for the stretch. At the top of the lane, Nashua moved to the outside and launched his run. Swaps felt him coming. He did not wait. He opened up. A length and a half at the wire. 2 minutes, 1 4/5 seconds. The first all-California horse to win the Kentucky Derby. The East wanted a rematch. Nashua ran in the Preakness without Swaps, whose split hoof wall had flared again. Nashua won and set a track record at Pimlico. He ran in the Belmont without Swaps. He won by 9 lengths. The East said the Derby was a fluke. The West said Nashua only won when Swaps stayed home. A match race became inevitable. August 31st, 1955, Washington Park, Chicago. Stop everything you thought was settled. This is where the rivalry turned. $100,000, winner take all. 2 horses. No field, No excuses. Television carried the race into living rooms from coast to coast. The country chose sides, East versus West, Belair Stud versus a cowhand from the desert, Arcaro versus Shoemaker. The grandstands were packed. This was not about the mutuals. This was about proving who was right. Swaps arrived in form. 2 weeks earlier, he had won the American Derby, setting a course record on the turf. He was moving better than he had at Churchill Downs. Then the rain came. The morning before the match race on a wet Washington Park track, Swaps injured his right forefoot again. The split hoof wall that had kept him out of the Preakness and the Belmont flared for the third time. Tenney knew. Ellsworth knew. The foot was wrong. But in 1955, you did not scratch from a $100,000 match race with the whole country watching. You ran. That was the reason, not Nashua's brilliance, not Arcaro's genius. The horse was hurt the day before the biggest race of his life. Nobody outside the barn said a word. Arcaro broke alertly and sent Nashua straight to the lead. The move was calculated. It forced Shoemaker wide into the worst of the soft footing. Swaps could not plant the bad foot the way the heavy track demanded. He could not drive, he could not accelerate. Nashua drew clear through the stretch. 6.5 lengths at the wire. The East called it settled. Nashua was voted Horse of the Year for 1955. 21 of 40 ballots. The narrative was clean. The better horse won. But the narrative was wrong. Swaps did not lose because he was slower. He lost because the ground was soft and his hoof was cracked. The men who handled him that morning knew the truth. Nobody said it publicly. The crowd went home believing they had witnessed a fair fight between equals. They had not. The men who knew Swaps best said nothing to the press. They took the horse back to California and kept what they knew inside the barn. Swaps did not race again that year. He spent the winter healing while the East celebrated a result that was never what it appeared to be. 1956. Swaps came back. And what he did next is the part of this rivalry that nobody remembers. He won the Broward Handicap in Florida, new world record for 1 mile and 70 yards, 1 minute, 39 3/5 seconds, carrying 130 pounds. He ran with his mouth open because Shoemaker was holding him back. That is what dominance looks like when a horse is restrained and still shattering records. The Argonaut Handicap at Hollywood Park, 1 mile, 1 minute, 33 1/5 seconds. That had been Citation's record. Citation held it for years. Swaps erased it. The Hollywood Gold Cup, 1.25 miles. New track record. He lowered the previous mark by a full second. Win betting only despite a 7-horse field. The Sunset Handicap, 1 mile and 5/8, 2 minutes, 38 1/5 seconds. New world record. He lowered the previous track record by 2 2/5 seconds. Under restraint, eased in the final 16th, carrying 130 pounds. The Washington Park Handicap, new track record for 1 mile. His 6-furlong split was 1 minute, 7 4/5 seconds. 2 full seconds faster than the track record for 6 furlongs alone. He was breaking sprint records while running route races. 5 world records in a single season. The largest collection of recognized world records any horse had ever carried into retirement. But while Swaps was rewriting the record books in California 3,000 miles east, the world around Nashua had already shattered. October 30th, 1955, Oyster Bay, New York. 8 weeks after the match race. William Woodward Jr. came home from a dinner party for the Duchess of Windsor. He was 35 years old, Harvard-educated, Navy veteran, heir to the Bel Air fortune. Both he and his wife, Anne, carried loaded shotguns that night because of a prowler on the neighboring estates. Sometime after midnight, Anne heard a noise in the hallway. She fired at a shadow. The shadow was her husband. The press called it the shooting of the century. A grand jury cleared Anne Woodward. She was never charged, but the damage was total. The Bel Air horses were auctioned, every horse, every mare, every yearling. Nashua was sold to a syndicate for $1,251,200, the highest price ever paid for a thoroughbred. The stable that produced Gallant Fox and Omaha and Johnstown was finished. 200 years of American racing history ended by a shotgun blast in a Long Island hallway. Nashua raced in 1956 under new colors, leased to Leslie Combs II. He won the Widener, the Suburban, the Gray Lag, the Jockey Club Gold Cup for the second time. He retired with 30 starts, 22 wins, and total earnings of $1,288,565. Only the second horse in history to surpass $1 million. He was still Nashua. He was magnificent to the end, but the empire that made him no longer existed. Swaps was named Horse of the Year for 1956, 78 votes to 45. The cowhand's horse had answered every question the East ever asked. Then October, Garden State Park, New Jersey. Swaps was training for the Washington, D.C. International. He fractured his left rear cannon bone in 2 places. A week later, he hit the leg in his stall. The cast broke. The fractures extended into his pastern joint. He lost 300 pounds. He was not going to race again. The question was whether he would survive the night. Sonny Jim Fitzsimmons heard what happened. The trainer of Nashua. The man whose horse had beaten Swaps in the match race. The man who stood for everything the Eastern establishment believed about its own superiority. He sent a special sling from Belmont Park to Garden State. That sling kept Swaps alive. Mesh Tenney stayed beside the horse and raised and lowered it every 45 minutes for 36 straight hours. He did not sleep. 45 minutes up, 45 minutes down. For a horse that was not his. For a rival. The home trainer's hands and the rival's equipment. Between the two of them, they saved the horse. They called him the California Cripple after that. He had earned the name more than once, but he jogged away from the ordeal and was saved for stud. The rivalry was fierce. The competition was real. But when the horse was dying, the other side sent help. That was the kind of men who built this sport. Fitzsimmons left the ruins of Bel Air and trained for the Wheatley stable. The horse he conditioned there was Bold Ruler. Some bloodlines end, others find new rivers. Rex Ellsworth continued breeding horses in California. He never became part of the Eastern establishment. He never tried to be. Swap stood at Darby Dan Farm in Lexington and later at Spendthrift Farm. He sired 35 stakes winners. Chateau Gay won the 1963 Kentucky Derby and the Belmont Stakes. Affectionately was inducted into the Hall of Fame. Nashua retired to Spendthrift Farm. His fillies were stronger than his colts, and one of them changed the breed forever. He sired a filly named Gold Digger. Gold Digger produced Mr. Prospector. Mr. Prospector became one of the most influential stallions in thoroughbred history. His sons sired Derby winners. His grandsons reshaped racing across Japan and Europe and Australia. Through Fappiano, through Unbridled, through horses running in graded stakes today, Nashua's blood did not stay in the past. It is alive right now. Swaps was euthanized in 1972 at the age of 20. Nashua died in 1982. A sculptor named Liza Todd, the daughter of Elizabeth Taylor, created the statue over his grave at Spendthrift. This was the biggest rivalry in American racing in the 1950s. A match race on national television, a country divided, and within a generation it was forgotten. A bronze statue of Swaps and Shoemaker stood at the entrance of Hollywood Park for 56 years. The track is gone now. The statue is in storage. Nobody passing that ground today knows the horse's name, but the blood is still running. If you like this story, do not miss the next one appearing on your screen right now.